If you want to make a bunch more money as a freelancer, there are a couple things that you can do which are not that complicated. And I want to walk you through those things. I have been running a development company for the past 3 years. I was a freelancer before, and I've got a lot of experience working with freelancers and also just, as a development agency, I'm essentially corporate and larger organizational version of a freelancer, right? And it really comes down to a few simple things, but I want to go through essentially here like negotiation. So how do you start, and then how do you move up? I recently launched a talent database, and so I work with a lot of freelancers, and we help freelancers find work. And I see a lot of people who put an hourly rate that I honestly think is more than what they would otherwise earn in a job or something like that. And you can see that they're trying to be ambitious and they're trying to earn more, and I think it's great, but I think they're going about it the wrong way. I see people charging like 20 to 30 an hour when they're really junior and they have no experience, and they're trying to charge those amounts. And they have somebody else who's also from the same place and is charging half their price. And it's not just about charging a lower price. Like, people don't just compete on price, people compete on quality. But the thing is, you need to start at a lower price, and then when you have a contract, negotiate your way up, rather than trying to sell the highest price the first time you go in. So don't go into the client and ask him for, give me $100 an hour, because it's not going to work. I saw somebody ask for $150 an hour with a portfolio that honestly looks horrendous. And I saw somebody ask for $4.50 per hour for a portfolio that competes with the people who ask for 20. And I'll tell you what, that guy who charges $4.50 an hour can work his way up way past $20 an hour because he's got the right principles in place. And that is that you start low and that you get the job and you learn and you improve. The thing is, he's also learning. He's got no experience. And so he is going to get that job first, because when I see that, I see that he's got potential because he's curious and he talks about his work, but at the same time, he's willing to learn and then move up. And what I would say to him is like, okay, once you have that first job, by the way, I think he'll secure something far more than $4.50 an hour. But let's say you start at 15 an hour and you want to move up. Don't try and find the next client immediately at $50 an hour, but ask your current client, listen, I want to get to 20 or I want to get to 30. Is this possible? If not, why not? If he says, oh, to be honest, man, you're not really worth $50 an hour, you need to improve. A lot of people will not say it that bluntly, but sometimes people will kind of they'll say, oh, okay, I don't have the budget, but they'll go find somebody else. Sometimes they don't have the budget, and that just means you're with the wrong client. But a lot of times you can keep working your way up. There's two ways. You either negotiate one contract up or you pitch clients against each other. So I have a client for $30 an hour and I want to move to the 35. Keep networking, showing your work, sending around your portfolio, whatever it is, applying for jobs, and ask for 35. Eventually somebody says yes and you can drop the one at 30. But you have to work your way up. I think the reality is, and the reason most people fuck this up, is because they're so impatient to get everything. They want everything all at once. Like, I've been building this business for 2.5 years, and if there's one thing that it's taught me, it's that you need patience, and patience can be incredibly hard. Especially as a young person. I think social media only makes this worse because it constantly makes us compare to everybody else's highlight reel. And trust me, it is not what people make it out to be. Like, I wish I could stress this enough. It is not what people make it out to be. There's so much smoke and mirrors. There's so much fake shit. It's ridiculous. People do it is hard, and it takes time, and that's okay. And the people who have actually done it have been doing it for years. They've been doing it for decades. And so too many people rush in, less than a year experience, and they want the salary of a mid-level or way more. And it's just you just started. And you will get there. Just be patient. Why are you in such a rush? It's just, I know it's horrible, and I wish I could tell this to myself earlier, but the lack of patience will fuck you over more than if you just stick to the fucking plan. In this business, I made so many mistakes by trying to rush ahead. It wasn't that I was trying to do too many things at once. It was just that I kept trying to change the plan to get there faster. I was doing this and then that. I was basically, I started by overcharging, to be honest. And that was a huge mistake. And if I had just started smaller and kept building it up, I would be way further ahead now, to be honest. I genuinely would, if I had just started smaller. And I lack that patience, and I see this in myself as well. This is why it really pisses me off to see other people, because it's hurting them in the long run. The biggest way to negotiate and earn more is actually to have patience to find the next contract, to have patience to ask your employer for more and see what they say. One of the biggest tests is say that you're going to leave tomorrow. Will they offer you a higher salary or not? if they don't offer you a higher salary, it means you're not good enough. That's the truth of it, right? If they really need you, they will pay you more. If you're not at the hourly or you want to be, you have to ask and figure out from your customers how to get to there, rather than just asking blindly for way more money. Because what's going to happen is, if somebody pays you a lot of money, let's say you get lucky, let's say you get a placement, and it's for your usual rate is 25, but you want more, and you ask for $50 an hour, and there's a client with budget. This client pays people thousands a month, and so he gives you $50 an hour, and you fuck it up and you do a shit job. Guess what? You just lost that client. That client could have taken you from 40 to 60 to $80 an hour maybe, because he had the budget to do so. But you burnt the bridge on the first fucking try because you were impatient and you didn't have the skill set to work at that level yet. I say this because I almost did this. There was a client where I charged higher rates than honestly we could really ask for. And in terms of quality, we just didn't manage to serve the quality that they needed, and we were charging some very good rates. And I managed to work it out with the client, and I cut down the rates, and I basically said, listen, I'm sorry, I know that I messed up. The work that we've done is not worth that hourly rate that we were charging. And we've slowly worked our way back up from that. But it was one of the big mistakes, and I got really lucky. But if I hadn't gotten lucky, I would have lost the bridge with that client, and that would have cost me way more. If you enjoyed, do subscribe, comment if you have any other questions. I try and make videos based on comments as quickly as I can. But otherwise, I hope it was helpful. I really, really do. I think it's one of my biggest lessons, and a really underrated one, to be honest. And I know why it's underrated. I understand that, but I think somebody who learns this lesson earlier than I did, which took me 3 years, I think will be further ahead.